Hello there, and this week we're building the Ministry of Magic, which when it came out I immediately said I wasn't particularly interested in. One, because of the price point, and two, because it's for little kids. As it turns out though, 6 months on and the price point is nowhere near an issue anymore. And the set, well, let's have a look. If I recall correctly, we got 7 bags in this one, and it does seem like you get quite a lot of stuff to build, although it is quite heavily focused on minifigures and small vignettes. The good thing about that, in terms of the building, means you can build little bits at a time, and like I did, got on the crayon table and built a little section each night. Not too many stickers, but best of all, the panel piece for this telephone box is a print, and the build itself is quite good considering their scale they're trying to achieve. I really like the build for this. I think it'll slip straight into my city no problem, and it's a perfect scale. Like I said, I built this over a few nights, so now we're back up in the Lego room and it's all together, and this is where it looks its best, set out just like the box art. Let's take a quick run through the minifigures. After all, they are a major part of this set. Another Patronus character. I'm still convinced these are going to be worth thousands in years to come. They're really desirable, but they look really cool as well, so it's no surprise. And this is Umbridge at her judge's desk and Arthur Weasley. There's that telephone box again. Still looks cool. It's definitely the right size. I have seen better mock versions, but none that have managed to get it down to this size. And it's nice that it is printed on that door piece. Those angled slopes really come together nicely to get that shape too. This next bunch then, it's the 2 Catamol characters. It's Albert Runcorn and Mafalda Hopkirk. Now the brilliant thing they've done here is, considering the set contains so many figures, we don't actually get a Harry, Ron and Hermione. We just get the alternate hair pieces and faces for those characters. Then we've got Thickness and Yaxley and another Dementor, which means I think if you collect all the sets, you can actually start army building these guys. The 2 random triangles are your in-office memos, and this next thing, but this piece is probably the most disappointing in the set. Where the phone box was excellent and perfectly scaled down while still retaining detail, that fountain is minuscule and is just a reuse of a minifig from an advent calendar set, I think. Overall, it even looks tiny between these 2 towers of the main building, so it's really not great. Overall, the towers of the main building and that bridge section do look pretty good though, and do represent the Ministry from the movie. Let's just take a closer look at that cat. He's so glittery. And here are your spare pieces. Nothing too surprising there, although you do get some extra of those pearly prophecy type pieces. Right, so let's break down this main build properly then. As I said earlier, it breaks down into small vignettes. It is very much aimed at children. It's a 9+ set, so it's broken down into playable sections. However, that being said, when you do start to break it down into these sections, you realise that there isn't quite as much brick as you might think for the size of the box and the retail price. Just for example here, I've squished the 2 towers together, and now compared to that earlier box art shop, it is, well, it's smaller than 1 module of Diagon Alley. However, unlike the Shrieking Shack that I purchased from the Lego store a few weeks ago at full retail price, I actually picked this up from Smith's Toy Store in the UK, and it was 40% off. Anyway, back to running through the sections. This top section that bridges the 2 together is probably the weakest. Like I said earlier, it is a play set, so they've popped a little desk on the top just to make it a bit more playable. But realistically, this is the piece that hides the size of the set and spaces those two towers out to make it look much bigger than it actually is. Let's take a look at the first tower. The fireplace is really great, and of course it's a playset, so it's got a really good function on the bottom. It just works, it's easy, brilliant. Each of the main play features come with these cute little handles with little gemstones on the top. Probably a bit excessive for a lever for a play feature, but it looks good all the same. The next section up is the courtroom section. We took a look at the desk earlier, Umbridge was sat at it, and you've got another extra chair in there and a stack of paperwork. Realistically, you can't do much in the actual room though. Same on the top floor, Umbridge's office. It's a vignette of a scene basically, and there's not really any playable space inside the building. What you basically need to do is break it all down onto a table, and then you can pull the pieces out and play with them outside of the vignette, which, if you're 9, is pretty great. That's it for this tower. The courtroom is really the thing that lets it down. It doesn't live up to anything like the movie scene. But Umbridge's office looks really great. It's got the cat pictures, it's got plenty of pink, it looks the part. Jumping across to the other tower then, I can't really remember what that bottom section's supposed to be, but we've got a whole stack of those undesirable posters, and the exterior of the tower itself is the same as its opposite. Again, they're squeezing in the play features wherever they can, and on this bottom floor you can actually trigger the buttons behind the tower that will fire these papers off, which I kind of thought was pointless, but if Harry's trying to defend himself, then actually they're probably pretty handy. If you don't hit your target though, you're probably going to lose those pieces. And again, we got those cute little gems on the buttons. Moving up the tower then, on this side we've got a prophecy room, which I have to say looks pretty racked and stacked, and it again has a play feature to topple that shelf just like it does in the movie. Again, however, you will notice there is no space in that room to stand a single minifigure. At the top of this tower, however, is probably my favourite room of the build, which is Arthur Weasley's office. Again, it's vignette form, and you can only just about squeeze him in at his desk, but it is racked and stacked with little trinkets of Muggle world. I particularly like the glass encased rubber duck. And the picture, of course, on the wall is the pyramids and the Weasleys all together on holiday. Again, this tower overall works so much better, all laid out across the floor, so you can at least move characters around and enjoy the playability of it. It's not much use for us grown-ups that like to display things and have realistic models, but you can see why it'd be great for a kid. Coming back to the minifigures, however, as much as I'm glad we haven't had another trio, because let's face it, we get them all the time, there are certain times and certain scenes within this build that actually mean you're missing minifigures, and it's the prophecy room that's the main culprit. Realistically, we need some of Dumbledore's army, but it's probably best to leave the lion at home, Luna. Overall, if we're reviewing just the building part of this set and ignoring the minifigures, straight away, this telephone box is a winner. Meanwhile, this statue is puny and nothing like the movie. This middle section, I see the point in it, but it is just trying to squeeze in an extra little play feature. These two towers are obviously where the best rooms are, although they're not entirely geographically correct with the way they're set up. And I would probably use those roofs on the underside of the towers to suggest how they kind of float off the side of the walls in the ministry. And then we could have our own dedicated fireplace area. Overall, 40% off this set makes it a very worthwhile purchase. And the good news is, we got some post this week, so we can finish off a few little bits that have been bugging us for a while on the main layout. Like, we can start building this window. And we can finish those curb sections now. Oh, and those base plates in that package? Well, you'll see where they go next time. See you on the next one.